Sorry, you just got to get on
we're
it.
rolling, Chris.
All righty. We have actually. Thanks, Scotty.
In front of your mic. Get closer. In front.
No, this thing.
Turn the mic.
This thing.
That's right. Yeah, but you get a better pull if it's right there because I can't hear you. There you go. Just like that.
All right. Coming down in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the second episode of My Two Cents, and we actually have our first guest, and we're actually really thrilled to have him. We have a really nice piece of authentic Chicago, a real guy here, Dave Kwiatkowski, who is from the old neighborhood. Scott told me you're from Cicero, Berwyn, that area. Where'd you grow up, Dave?
I grew up on 65th and Kilpatrick, and for a while on 18th Street down by Paulina. But mostly I hung out with 50 or 60 guys on the corner at 63rd and Keating.
63rd and Keating. So what's the name of that neighborhood?
It was the wrong side of the tracks. We didn't have a neighborhood name. It was literally, it was between railroad yards, factories, and the airport and factories. So there was name. Nobody wanted to claim that neighborhood.
No one claimed it because Midway was 54th and whatever.
Midway ended at 63rd Street.
At 63rd.
So we were catty corner. We kind of hung out like across the street, a block down from Midway.
There you go, Scott. We are talking to someone who literally grew up by the airport. He can actually say that. Hey, he's from the airport.
The terminal. I mean, this is like it was only a commercial airport when I was growing up.
Right.
So we used to ditch church. Me and my brothers and sisters would go to the White Castles with our, I even forget what it's called. It's been so long. But anyway, we'd go to the White Castles with our,
skateboard
remittance, our weekly remittance.
Oh,
we'd buy two White
Sliders.
Castles and a Coke, and we would go. Literally 365 days a year, the terminal doors were open.
Really?
That you go in, somebody came in, clean it. Because it was a whole different world in the 60s. It was a whole different world in the 60s. You just walk in there and hang out all day, watch the planes take off and land.
A lot of brothers and sisters?
No, zero.
Zero? You're the only child?
Oh, no, me. I thought you meant brothers and sisters in the hood. No. There's not, yeah, right. But no, it was, I'd have come from a big family. And
big Polish family.
No, we're not Polish. It's a name to get away from a granddad who was he was a felon. He was like, beat you and rape you on Friday night. So she changed her name to a Polish name to get away from a crazy Lithuanian.
What was the Lithuanian name?
I ain't telling nobody.
Really?
All right. So your name, I love it.
No, I know. So Dave Kwiatkowski, who's not Polish, Lithuanian.
But I can tell you a couple of things about the Bolshinsky diamonds.
Nice. Well, the plot thickens, as they say. Oh, well, this is cool. We're glad to have you. Like Scott talked about a little bit, where Scott and I are crazy about television and film and trying to see what the possibilities are in Chicago, which as of now there are none. You're looking at it, so if you want to be a star, we're your guys.
I just want to help the cause of the grassroots movement.
This is it.
To get rid of Rom, to get rid of whatever that T-fuck is.
So why does Rom take the bulk of the blame for everything that's going on? You're not the first I've heard that from. A lot of people would like to see him gone. What is it? Is he too strong out of an executive? What is it about him that makes
he's a genius. He's going to fix everything because he's so smart. He's got connections and he gets things done. What people don't figure out is just like Daley, he got things done for himself and his family and his friends.
Yeah. He
ain't getting nothing done. Chewy was the answer. And I ain't saying that because he went to my high school and I met him.
Yeah.
I met David Orr.
Yeah.
And they opened up the books before, right? They went to the Sun-Times and the Tribune saying, we have the FBI reports about all these people that Rahm appointed to the public schools.
Right.
And the Sun-Times and the Tribune told them we can't release those. We don't have a second source. The FBI is a pretty good source for information. I stood in a room with David Orr and Chewy Garcia. Not far from here, because his office was down here on Irving Park. And it was at a Methodist church. They donated the basement so we could have a potluck afterwards.
Did the fact that Chewy Garcia had a son that was a gang member, did that hurt his cause at all?
I don't believe he was a gang member. No, I heard stop or I'll shoot twice on the south side. I never stopped. They never shot. I probably, on a boring Thursday, Friday, Saturday night in the summertime, guys in my neighborhood would go up to that same White Castles with 2 cops eating and drop their trowels and press their ass right on the fucking glass in front of those coppers eating.
Nice.
To get them to come out and chase us. But I don't believe he's a gang member. I believe. You ever smoke pot?
Yeah.
You're a gang member.
Nice. Honored.
I think I'm dealing it. I'm not even sure.
All righty. Do you still live in that area? Where do you live now?
I live up here on the north. Are you kidding me?
I'm asking.
I live in the safest neighborhood in Chicago. I live in Gladstone, Norwood Park.
Gladstone, Norwood Park.
Well, there was a shooting in Jefferson Park that.
Yeah, that's your side of the highway, bro. That's your side of the expressway. These are your insurance rates.
What made you want to live up here?
Oh, I married the most wonderful girl in the world.
Still married?
No, hell no.
No. Of course
Divorced for 21 years.
Excellent. Excellent.
3 beautiful kids, and I got custody of her dad.
Okay. Well, that's good. What are you doing? I mean, I know you live up here, but what do you do?
I'm a carpenter general contractor.
Nice. For yourself?
Yeah.
Nice. Business good?
We had a slow winter, but, I'm the youngest guy in the company now at 59. The other guys are 68 and 65. So I'm like the muscle.
You're the muscle?
I'm the
You're
muscle.
59?
Yeah.
You look like you're in your 40s. That's awesome.
Thanks. Tell all your lady friends.
What kind of women are you? What age group are you attracted to?
You
like a good 42-year-old.
I don't care what he says. It's over 18.
Yeah, I agree.
Ask him about your social, Chris.
Are you on social? You on any dating?
I just got off. I met this wonderful girl who just got divorced last year. 6'3.5".
Wow.
My kids my younger boy's pissed because he met her and she's taller than him. We just got done with a 24-day. Today was the end of our 24-day first date. I asked her out on Super Bowl Sunday. We went to lunch the following day. We wound up driving to Nashville in her pickup truck, Chicago in her pickup truck, picked up a bunch of material from my garage to go back to Florida. We said, fuck it, let's go to the first weekend of Mardi Gras in New Orleans. Then we went and met her mom in Tallahassee, and then we drove to Sarasota. So today was the end. We just spent 5 days together in Sarasota. 24-day first date. Went pretty good. So I'm off of all social media.
So you drove back from Florida today?
No, flew back.
Flew back.
I drove the circuit. I drove Nashville, Chicago, New Orleans, Tallahassee. Beautiful.
Did you go to Mardi Gras?
Went to Mardi Gras for 5 days. Wow. Great time.
Where'd you stay?
We stayed at the Royal St. Charles.
Oh,
the weekend we
fantastic.
stayed was $125 a night. This last weekend it was $375 a night.
Did you book that a year ago?
No.
You just met her.
No,
Scott.
I booked it like 3 or 4 days in advance. They just had availabilities. See, that second weekend is so like over publicized that everybody thinks that's all of Mardi Gras. The first Mardi Gras parades are in January.
Yeah.
So
nice.
They go through the neighborhoods.
Yeah.
String it out.
Oh yeah, all different neighborhoods, all different areas all around the city. There's about 58 parades over a period of a month, but all of them are condensed on the weekends.
The Bacchus is the Super Bowl.
Love New Orleans. I was there over Christmas, and my friend Dustin, who we also shoot with occasionally, he's a great cinematographer, great director, has a home down there, and it's right by Pasquale Manali's, which is a famous restaurant right on Napoleon Avenue. He's literally right next to that, and we were there at Christmas. It's fantastic.
Is that in the Garden District?
It's in the Garden District. Yeah, we're at the corner of Napoleon and St. Charles.
Yeah. I just drove on.
Yeah.
I have a video in my phone of the streetcars. It was a perfect 73-degree day. They had all the windows open. Just a rush of air through the trolley car.
It's great.
Right down
$2.
We were going to the Camellia Street Grill.
Nice.
Yeah, all the way down at the end.
Great town, fantastic town. Full of, you think it's almost Chicago times 10 in terms of bizarre people you're going to meet, but fun and interesting. All right, so back in Chicago, welcome back. Winter's over. We're headed towards March and hopefully not too bad of a late spring. It was a mild winter, to say the least. Yeah. You didn't miss any snow.
No snow for 2 months.
For 2 months.
January and February.
Which I believe is the first time in over a century. It's crazy.
They've recorded our weather for 146 years. It's the first time they've never had an accumulation for 2 months.
Crazy.
Wow.
That's what we're in for. It's the new reality. It's the new global warming. I'm kind of in favor of it, if that's one of the effects of it. But
the cheap heat?
The cheap heat. And a couple of 60-degree days you missed while you were gone. It was beautiful.
What was it like in Florida?
It was nice. Actually, I was up here for 2 of those days because we came up to get that building material. I took her to the Art Institute. I took her to the South Side to eat. Took her one other place, but she was impressed with the food. And
Does she
loves
like
New Orleans.
Chicago?
She loves Chicago, and she loved New Orleans.
Does she? And she lives in Nashville. Where she lives?
She lives in Sarasota.
Sarasota.
Yeah.
So is the relationship gonna go on?
I think so. I mean, I can't. I've been single for 21 years since 98. I've been divorced, but I was kind of shown the door in 95. So I haven't met a girl. I've met girls, but we just connect on so many levels. She's like, when I'm not being me, she's me.
Wow, that's deep.
Yeah.
Where did you meet her?
I met her at a Super Bowl party at a Gilligan's Bar and Grill on Siesta Key, which is the #1 beach in the United States of America,
Siesta
including
Key.
Hawaii.
How far is that from the farthest Florida?
This is way up from Key West.
Oh,
this
higher.
is an hour south of Tampa.
Okay.
So about 2 hours north of Naples, an hour south of Tampa.
All right, so why is
Siesta
that
Key.
better than
On the
that?
Gulf side.
It's
Gulf side.
On the Gulf side. All the sand when the between the Smokies and the Adirondacks and the Rockies, the U.S. was an inland sea with a clockwise current for a couple million years. And the quartz in the mountains up in the Adirondacks, the silt, the motion would wear away at the silt. And the quartz turned it into silt, and it all washed up within a stretch of about 10 miles. Longboat Key, Lido Key, but Siesta Key's got the majority of it, and there's a big thing now, they're trying to steal sand from there to replenish the other beaches, so they're suing about it. But when they call it Siesta snow, when the wind blows, you know how the snow blows up against the plants here?
Yeah.
It makes them look all cool. That's how, you take the sand up, pick the sand up on it when it's been dry for 2 weeks in the wintertime, and you throw it up, and 20% of it falls to the ground. The rest of it, it's like
powder.
It's like baby powder. It's like baby powder.
Powder.
Baby powder?
Cool.
So when you lay on it, it just feels good on your face.
Yeah. You roll around in it.
You went to the nude beach there?
What's that?
You went to the nude key? Is that the nude key?
There's no nudity.
You're thinking
allowed.
about Key West and that. You're on the wrong side of town.
Yeah, give it 15 years. Global warming.
All right. So you had a good time in Florida. You're back in Chicago. Construction business going to pick up as the weather gets better.
Yeah. Yeah, usually.
Ready to go to
it
work
has for 30 years. It should this year.
Cyclical. All right. Good. Very cool. And you're a young, energetic 59, a good-looking 59. We can all agree. You look like a kid almost. That's awesome.
Wait a minute.
You.
He said he was
Oh,
59
go
Yeah.
on.
earlier.
Yeah.
I thought he said 52.
No, he's 59.
Oh, I thought
Isn't
he
that
was
incredible?
45.
No.
Oh, go on.
He looks like he's 40. I think he could pass for 45.
Son. Hey, ask Dave if he wouldn't share some of his Gulf Coast stories, the Coast Guard. Remember when I
Oh,
met you?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You got some Coast Guard stories?
Two of her brothers played volleyball for the National Coast Guard team. Big, they're all big. She's 6'3.5". She's a run to the
How
litter.
tall are you?
I'm probably just a hair over 6 foot. I've already shrunk from being in the trade so long. I've shrunk about an inch and a half, inch and
Arthritis?
3/4. Huh?
Arthritis?
No, I don't think it's that much arthritis. I just think it's carrying wood, carrying tools up and down stairs, I'm compressing stuff all the time, playing ball and that. But the Coast Guard, let's see, what's the Semper Paratus, always prepared. That's the secret to life. They should just put that in the 10 Commandments throughout those second 5.
It's true.
Always be prepared.
And have access to a sauna.
So true. It's so true.
So yeah, Coast Guard was good to me.
Good.
Got shot at.
By who?
We'll never know. But I got shot at. We got a false Mayday. We went out looking in Key Biscayne back in '82.
Cubans.
I was a weekend warrior. It was probably drug related.
Yeah, Cubans.
So
Noriega. Noriega. Dominicans.
No, they were in business.
Nicaraguans.
They were in business with him. They're not. They were in business with Noriega, so he's not shooting at us.
The Coast Guard?
Yeah. Well, the U.S. government was in business with Noriega,
For a
so
time.
he's not going to start any trouble.
So who was shooting at the Coast Guard in 1982? Cartels.
Yeah, somebody who didn't want them out patrolling these waters.
What kind of boat were you in? Like a PT boat? Patrol
It
boat?
was a World War. We had a lot of shit left over from World War II.
So it was
the Coast Guard had a lot of shit. We had a boat that did about on a calm day, it could do maybe about 25 to 28 knots, and we didn't have any guns. We had a rope gun and a flare gun. So we could shoot a fishing line about 600 yards so that you could pull a bigger line and then you could pull a tow line over to your vessel. And we had a flare gun. So that was the start of the Coast Guard carrying firearms. Nobody had a firearm. None of us had a firearm.
So did you ever carry a firearm?
No, I quit over it because it said lifesavers on the side of the boat. So when we went for training, I like shooting guns, so I went for the training, and then they said, when you show up, you have to check, wear a sidearm. And I says, I'm not getting on a boat with a gun. I says, they got the latest weaponry, they got cigarette boats, they have all this fucking money, and we've got the shit. We've got a metal boat that does, 30 miles an hour, 32 miles an hour maximum. A knot is 1 1/8 mile per hour. So that's where we made the transition from 27, 28 to... So I was like, nope. I called a lawyer. The lawyer said, I was a reservist. I was 2 weeks of summer and then 1 weekend a month. So he said, they're not going to come after you, but whatever you do, don't step foot on any kind of a military base in the United States again, because should they want to press charges and you're on a military base, they could do that. But they never came after me. And our gracious, great government in the United States of America gave me an honorable discharge.
That's nice.
And I basically walked away from fulfilling my obligation. So,
Any regrets?
No, I had a good time. I helped guys. I helped guys pass tests who were lifers when I was in school and shit. I was a little bit better than them, so I helped them pass tests, and they stayed in the Coast Guard because they were trying to get rid of them because they were old,
right?
And they were trying to force them out.
59 years old, still young and energetic, having fun. What do you want to do with the rest? I mean, you could live to 100 years old. I mean, anything else?
I just talked to my girlfriend about that today. I said, I'm going to shoot for 100. Her mom smokes like a chimney. I met her 84 years old in Tallahassee, sweet old lady. And the funny thing is, I was going to brag on my mom, who was an 8th grade graduate, worked a union job and a job at the track for cash to make ends meet for 7 kids, and I was bragging on my mom a little, saying my mom wound up reading over 2,000 books in her life.
Wow.
And she says, "Oh, that's nice." She says, "I check out 10 books a week, and I usually finish 9 out of the 10, and I've done that for 40 years."
Ooh.
So she reads 500 books a year.
Oh.
And I said, "This is what happens when you're from the South Side and you're bragging."
I can tell you it's probably true because that's what my wife reads.
Yeah, but I mean, 2-3 packs of cigarettes a day, 3 or 4 Jack and Waters every night. It's just a routine. She's 84. She's retired.
She's spry for her age.
I wouldn't say spry, but we went out to dinner and she tried to pick up the check. That's spry enough for me. I wouldn't let her, but she tried to.
That's nice.
I have a neighbor that's Greek. She's 91 years old. She stopped the other day and said hello with 2 bags. I just want to stop and say hello. She said, your kids are getting so big.
91.
91 and she's walking like she's
that's
70.
nothing. She's got another 10 years.
She's on coke.
Women live longer than men. But the secret to life, I think, is moving. That's why you look 45, 50. Best. You don't look 59, right?
Well,
The sun, you get a lot of vitamin D, a lot of vitamin K, yeah?
Yeah, and the other thing is, I will tell you this: I tend to hang around with younger people, and every now and then, when you get to date a younger girl, there's nothing like going out dancing, and there's nothing like going out and feeling alive. And let's face it, old people are kind of taught that they shouldn't act like that.
That's right.
I shouldn't feel that alive. So you go out with young people, lighting's dark. It takes off some years.
You color your hair?
What's that?
Color your hair?
No, never.
That's
funny.
amazing.
I hate
God
that.
damn.
I hate that.
That's a
I hate
no
that
gray
shit.
hair. Like goddamn Sammy Hagar.
I know, right? Didn't I tell you?
So you don't color. God, I wish I could say that. My hair is white, man. That's the only thing that makes me look old.
Everybody asks me that. Oh, do you tint it? No, I go in the sun a lot. I go to Florida 1 week a month.
Oh, well, there you go then.
My kids are down there. Somebody's got to look after them, so they ain't growing pot in the backyard. Tear that shit up.
All right.
Take it to your buddy's house.
Make money.
Take it to your buddy's house.
Make some money, yeah.
If you're such good buddies, take it to your buddy's parents' house.
Trump's going to change that, apparently.
I guess. I don't want to talk about Trump. We can do that some other time.
T cunt. Can we call him T cunt?
How's the time, Scotty?
We got. So let's use. We got 8 minutes. Let's use the last 8 minutes to go into Chicagoland and what we've been talking about.
All right.
And use Cicero and your experience there to sort of get with Dave on that. And Dave, feel free at any time to bring your stories. That's why I wanted Chris to meet you. I wanted him to hear how you tell stories in front of him.
Cool. So, long story short, I'm not from the Midway neighborhood where you're from, but my parents grew up in the West Side and Cicero and North Riverside area, Berwyn, that area. So I'm familiar with Cermak Road, and Scott and I have location shot down there.
They closed Class.
Did they?
They just closed it
I heard
4 months ago.
Frank Thomas's place never got off the ground. And he was the Big Hurt brewery, and he bought one of those banks on Cermak Road. Anyway, Scott and I we did some Victor-Nucci down there about a year ago.
Yeah.
We spent a Saturday down there shooting all the old 1940s, 1950s architecture. That area is like trapped in time. Scott and I were blown away by all the churches and shit down there. Anyways, long story short, kind of familiar with that neighborhood, and the character I play is going to be from that area. You're from that area, and we want you to play a character that's of that neighborhood, and kind of like yourself, just kind of a freewheeling, a guy who likes to enjoy life, have fun, and that's kind of what our vision is for this character, and we thought you'd be good at it, so that's why we wanted to bring you in.
Well, if it involves hanging around on streets, running from cops, smoking doobies in beat-up vans, not down by the river, that's been done. That would be fine.
It would be cool. You'd be good. It would involve those things. It would be I guess now that you mentioned cops, it would be cool if you were a guy that had relations with cops. Everyone in this, my character and your character are going to float. We're going to float between the good guys and the bad guys. So the key to this thing is your character is going to have relations with cops, but you're going to have relations with shady people. You're going to be a normal guy. It's going to be really fun.
Okay.
So let me give you the spiel from this point, and then I'll jump in. Take 60 seconds. I'll give you the 60-second pitch that I told you before. So I wanted to use this opportunity to find my talented friends and make something. So a year ago, I made my first music video, and now it's got like 70,000 views on the Polish channel in Poland. And these are all tests.
Scott's huge in Poland.
Abracadabra, I want to reach out and grab ya.
Is that Rick Astley?
That's the band that played our block party in 1982.
Who was that band? We're not leaving tonight till we get that fucking name of that band. I know that song. Abracadabra.
Oh no, that's Steve.
That's Steve Miller Band.
Steve Miller Band, yeah.
And they're doing a cover of it.
Yeah, but there was a Polish band doing a cover of it. They didn't know the words, but they did it. I want to reach out, and they're going to the crowd. I'm dancing with my mom. I want to reach out and grab ya.
The work of the Nats episode 1 is a fucking Polish band covering Abracadabra. Abracadabra.
So Dave, Chicagoland is literally us starting with very cliches. The idea being that I can start with a cliche as a concept or a premise, but by the time writing comes in, by the time someone acts it out, by the time someone fulfills it, we can make it something new. So the idea for Chicagoland came to me when I thought, how could I make a statement as an artist about what I see in Chicago without putting myself at subject to be criticized or have any part of my personal life interrupted. So I figured I'd make art. So I saw a movie called A Year of Violence and a couple other ones where they dealt with the tension of violence without actually any violence. The last one I saw was really good, and you only saw the gun once, and I thought that was interesting. And I thought, how can I make a comedic, dramatic piece that isn't about all getting a bunch of guns and blanks and everybody shooting each other up like a gangster movie. And in this case, I figured out that the tension is inside of people. So I have 3 main catalysts, 3 main protagonists. He's in the middle. And out of these 3 protagonists, they're all black. Meaning they're all minorities. There's a real black guy, and then there's a Bulgarian guy, and then there's this Irish guy. So they're all the lower rung of society, but they're all fighting to survive. And I thought it'd be interesting if I used Chicago as a backdrop to create this story as a vehicle for him and a vehicle for you and a vehicle for my other friends to put them on camera and let them do some acting chops. Find some simple stuff and make something like I used to watch on Dexter or Sopranos or The Fugitive or these other things. And with that being said, it also has a sense of improv like Christopher Guest, where even right now I'm thinking about what we're talking about and writing it. But you came when you and I talked about it, and I said, you've got such a personality and you've got these stories that you would probably be really great in front of the camera if you've given some words, to say. So when I started thinking about him, the three characters are all in a place. The youngest character of the three black people, who is Bulgarian and white, is in prison. The concept starts with him leaving prison. And then the older guy, the mentor, the higher status, has been in prison and done all that. He's the drug dealer from the south side that now. But I want to take this black guy and put him like in a penthouse at the top of Chicago, and he's ascended. He's not just Sean Puffy, and all that. He's more like Warren Buffett in that sense. He has his whole past, and now I want to find a way to connect these three separate men and connect them with the violence in their life. You could take any of these people and have their families. People are shot and die, and I want to create violence, but with a sense of humor and a little bit of, I'm going to fuck that guy over. Basically, what you saw in The Sopranos. I want to use really contemporary pop culture music that's relative, that's current. And my idea started, now that I'm getting into it, my idea started with his character leaving a higher status, right? And going underground, which goes from Chicago and then takes a train and goes to Gary. Gary being hell and Chicago being heaven. And that's sort of the metaphor. And in between there, I want to tell some interesting stories about just fucking making it. Especially in this day and age when people, not you, but people like us, all our age that are in the creative arts, are all broke and don't have jobs and getting divorced. And I had 2 calls today. And I want to use that as the subject matter, because they say you write what you know.
How did he get demoted to Gary? What did it? That's a bad situation if you're in the Coast Guard.
It's a bad situation, but when Scott and I went there to check it out, we were blown away by, number one, it's a lost city. It's gone.
Yeah, it's
2, there's this, it's Detroit. 2, there's this other community on the other side of it that's a fucking beach community that'll blow you away, that could double
Jones
for
Beach. Jones
Miller Beach.
Miller Beach.
I've heard of it. Yeah, I've heard of it.
That has houses on bluffs that'll blow you away. It's beautiful.
Cheap to live there.
Cheap to live there.
Cheap to build.
It was from the old people trying to get out of Chicago and get out on the weekends. So it has that kind of feel to it. Scott and I walked in. We location scouted on a Saturday morning with his friend Simi, and we walked into the art center downtown. And this person's working in the art center cleaning up, and Scott and I couldn't stop laughing because the first thing she said to Scott and to me is, "Welcome to Miller Beach. This is a cannabis-based community."
Really?
She said that, and Scott and I couldn't stop laughing. Right? This is a cannabis-based community.
We don't have to write shit. You just wrote it.
Yeah.
It writes itself.
Yeah, it's so funny.
All I got to do is find a way to put us in those positions, right? With a little bit of story, and the rest will act itself out. And to make it fun, and make it and make it interesting, and use these backdrops. We've got so many great things here. So that's sort of the impetus. But to go to your story, the reason he leaves this place is because he just got out of jail, right?
Okay.
And it's the other part, which comes from The Fugitive. The Fugitive is probably not. There's probably a better example he could tell you about. It's also a revenge story. I've got like 5. I've got a taco, I've got a T-bone, I've got some short ribs, I've got a hamburger, and I've got a salad.
We're gonna throw it in. We're gonna throw it in and make a stew.
The reason the guy that's sitting, the black guy that's way up top that dresses and drives a Ferrari, not a Ferrari, but something even classier.
Bugatti.
A Bugatti, yes, right. The reason he's doing that is because he's from Gary.
Yeah, right.
This is a revenge story because he used to work for the guy. It's very convoluted. I'm not telling you all of it, but but there's a relationship there. And
love hate.
Want to have fun, You come in. Did you ever see Out of Sight?
Movie?
Yeah, it's a movie with George Clooney. I don't want you to watch it now that I mentioned it.
No.
But you will bring some very interesting. Also because of your background, you told me about. You also can act. The other part of this is that Chris acts like a writer as well as an actor because he's from here and he knows the whole place. And you are as well. So as we write this thing, it'll sort of write itself, and hopefully what I can do is put together enough of the sizzle reel, right, to put it together and chop it up and patch it and get on a plane and go sell it to somebody. And I'll start with one person, and I'll keep going until somebody goes yes, because it's all numbers, and that's sort of my approach. While I'm interviewing for jobs, I'm making money with freelance projects. I do it all down here. But in the meantime, I'm interested in something bigger. You know, the stuff I learned at Playboy has got me crazy loaded up with nothing to lift. I want to lift something that's dynamic, that can bring a lot of energy and help some other people. Because in this industry, you can be the guy that studies, you can be the guy that this, but sometimes you just got to make it. And I don't have any fear. Because I know even at my half-ass not knowing anything, it'll be better than most people's best. And
well, you've got an organic base, and you know I think that's really what it's about. Is, I mean, you everybody's so filtered. You know, everybody's got so many people they have to say. You know, they have to kiss their ass and get their blessing. You know, if you could stay out of that position,
I gotta do is sell it.
Yeah.
They can buy it, they can hire us, they can fire us, whatever. All we need to do is sell it. But I can't sell it until I have something to show them. And then I can get out of the way. I don't have to write it perfect. I just got to make the thing look like what it's going to be, or as close to it as possible, or at least enough of an inspiration. Somebody goes, well, we'll produce that. That's what we're looking for.
Okay.
Chris, we're out of time.
I'm out of gas and I got to go. I have burnt my last bit of energy. But thank you both. This was fun.
Do a call out with Dave and tell him we'll have him back.
Dave, this was awesome. You are authentic. You are 110% Chicago. And you're just a grown-up kid like Scott and myself looking for a good time. And you are
two dudes.
Us three
in a
dudes
basement.
in a basement. We're not supposed to talk about it in those terms, even though that's what it is.
Penthouse.
On a Wednesday
You know
night.
what we call the second-story apartment on the south side?
What?
The penthouse.
Well, we're in the living room then. All right, so this has been fun. We're going to have you back. You got a lot to say.
Good timing. I'm out of beer.
Good. I'm out of everything. But this was fun. We're going to have you back. Thanks, pal.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you,
We
guys.
good?